It's common to take a look at the best players in the NBA or from an individual team, but today we're going to be doing the opposite, looking at the worst player from all 30 NBA teams. So if you guys like my content, make sure you like and subscribe. Let's try to get at least 5,000 likes on today's video, and let's hop right into it. Okay guys, before getting into it, you might have seen that we rebranded the channel. I want to know your thoughts in the comments below, but I also rebranded my other two channels, Range and Range Gaming. There's going to be a lot of content going over there, so if you guys want to check it out, those links will be in the description. Now for this video, there are some parameters. We won't be doing any rookies, as most teams have second round picks on their roster, but we also won't do anyone that really doesn't have a role on their team. I don't think anyone wants to listen to me talk about a guy that's touching the court for 5 minutes every other game. Now with all that said, we're going to start with a top team in the NBA. That's going to be the Houston Rockets, and it's got to be Gary Clark. This is a guy that played in 51 games. He got 13 minutes, but only managed 2.9 points, 2.3 rebounds, shooting 33% from the field and 30% from three. Now you could argue some other guys, maybe newcomers like Ben McLemore or Anthony Bennett, but it's hard to predict their role, so we have to go with what we saw this past season. For now, it's going to be Gary Clark. Next, we got the Utah Jazz, and this one was pretty tough, but when you look at guys that are actually projected to be in this rotation, it really comes down to Dante Exum or Emmanuel Mudiay, but Mudiay last year was actually pretty decent. He had career highs in points, both field goal and three-point percentage, so I'm going to have to go with Dante Exum, who despite being a decent defender, really doesn't help the team on the offensive side whatsoever, getting 7 points while shooting 42% from the field and 29% from three. This is a guy that's on a pretty hefty contract, but based on our parameters, we have to put him as the worst player on the Jazz. Next, we got the New Orleans Pelicans, and I'm going to go with Kenrich Williams. Now, with the new roster they have, his role could change a lot, but based on what we saw this past season, where he got almost 24 minutes a game, but only got 6.1 points, 4.8 rebounds, shooting 38% from the field and 33% from three, I'm going to have to go with him for now. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, I'm going to go with slam dunk champion Hamidou Diallo, but I want to make this clear, especially for a young guy like Diallo, this can definitely change, but right now I'm going to go with him. This is a guy that played in 51 games, but only got 3.7 points, and despite being able to fly out the gym, he doesn't have a three-point shot whatsoever, so that's what lands him on this list. Next, we got the New York Knicks, and while the roster isn't anything special, they actually have a fair amount of depth, which is why we're going with former 8th overall pick in the draft, Frank Ntilikina. This is a guy that we expected to be a project player, but he really hasn't showed us anything to get excited about. His rookie season, he only got 6 points, shooting 36% from the field, and this past season, he got less than 6 points, shooting 34% from the field and 29% from three. Definitely, as of right now, is the worst player on that team. Next, we got the Boston Celtics, and due to the parameters, I'm going to have to go with Semi Ojeleye, who only got 3.3 points, shooting 42% from the field and 32% from three last season. Now, I do think due to the departure of Marcus Morris that he will have a bigger role to start the year, but I think slowly, rookie Grant Williams will take more and more of his minutes. Next, we got the Denver Nuggets, and this was one of the toughest as they have some of the most depth in the whole entire league, so ultimately, I had to go with the guy that's still a pretty solid player, and that's Juan Hernan-Gomez. He's a guy that last season got 6 points, 4 rebounds, shooting 44% from the field and 37% from three, but it came down to the simple fact that I just don't think he's better than Mason Plumlee or Torrey Craig, so for now, I'm going to have to go with him. Next, we got the Charlotte Hornets, and this one's controversial as I'm going with Malik Monk, but when you look at guys that are actually going to be getting minutes for them next season, it's really got to be him or Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and with Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, at least you know you're getting defense. So far with Malik Monk, all we've seen is inefficient scoring and defense so bad, it makes it hard for him to even stay on the court. Now, the potential is definitely there. This guy could have a breakout year. He could be a great player going into the future, but based on what we know right now, for me, it's Monk. For the Toronto Raptors, I'm going to go with Stanley Johnson. The rotation still seems very unclear to me as of right now, but last season he got 18 minutes where he only scored 7 points, shooting 39% from the field and 29% from three. Now I know he's a decent defender, but that lack of offensive production is what puts him on this list. For the Milwaukee Bucks, it was no question, that's Dragan Bender, one of the biggest busts currently in the league. Now, I don't really mind the signing as it was low risk with a decent amount of upside, but this is a guy that last season only got 5 points, 4 rebounds, shooting 45% from the field and 22% from three. For the Indiana Pacers, this one was pretty clear. That's going to be TJ Leaf, who last season only got 4 points, 2 rebounds, shooting 54% from the field and 26% from three. For the Brooklyn Nets, it's a toss-up. You can either go with David Nwaba, who last season played in 51 games but only got less than 7 points, shooting 48% from the field and 32% from three, or you can go with Karooks, who on the Brooklyn Nets played in 63 games, got over 20 minutes a game, but only 8.5 points, 4 rebounds, shooting 45% from the field and less than 32% from three. For the Detroit Pistons, we got fan favorite Thon Maker. He was traded to the Pistons midway through the season last year. He was gifted almost 20 minutes a game, but only got 5.5 points, 3.7 rebounds, shooting 37% from the field and less than 31% from 3. As of right now, I have to put him as the worst player on the Pistons. For the Orlando Magic, we've got former Rookie of the Year Michael Carter-Williams. After getting traded from the Houston Rockets to the Magic last season, he played in 12 games, got almost 19 minutes a game, but got 5.4 points, shooting a terrible 34% from the field and 16% from 3. For the Chicago Bulls, we've got Cristiano Felicio. Early on in his career, he showed enough potential to get himself a decent contract, but now he really brings nothing to the team on either end. Last season, he got 4 points, 3.6 rebounds, shooting 53% from the field, so for right now, he is the worst player on the Bulls. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, we've got Matthew Dellavedova. This one really comes down to the parameters. A lot of young talent on this team. And if you look at anyone that's actually going to get minutes, Matthew Dellavedova, in my opinion, would be the worst player. Now, he's not too bad. He's a solid defender who's shooting right around 34% from 3. But out of all the options, I had to go with him. For the Miami Heat, we're going with high flyer Derrick Jones Jr. This one was pretty easy. The potential is definitely there, but as of right now, he is very raw. Last season, he got 7 points, 4 rebounds, and almost 20 minutes of play, shooting 49% from the field and less than 31% from 3. Next, we got the Washington Wizards, where we've got another fan favorite, Isaac Bonga. And when you look at this point guard rotation, I actually expect him to have a much bigger role than we saw this past season. But as of right now, while he does have a lot of potential as a 6'8" point guard, he's very young, he's very raw, and should be competing for the worst player on this team. Now, I don't mind the argument for any other player in that point guard rotation, whether it be Ish Smith or Isaiah Thomas. But for right now, I'm going to settle with Isaac Bonga. Next, we got the Atlanta Hawks, where we see one of the most overpaid players in NBA history, Chandler Parsons. While at one point, he was a very versatile scorer, now he's competing for the worst player on his team, getting less than 8 points, shooting 37% from the field and less than 31% from 3 this past season. For the Portland Trailblazers, this one was easy. That's Mario Hezonja. Coming into the league, he was supposed to be a sharpshooter, but yet is a career 32% three-point shooter. In this past season, shot less than 28% from 3, taking almost 3 attempts a game. So for now, he is the worst player on the Blazers. For the Los Angeles Clippers, this one was pretty tough as his team has a lot of depth, so ultimately I had to settle with a guy that's still a pretty solid player in Mo Harkless. This past season, he took a dip in three-point percentage, taking right around 2 attempts a game, but only connecting at 28%, so that's what lands him on this list. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, we're going to go with UConn legend Shabazz Napier. He's not going to bring this team anything on the defensive end, and last year he was nothing special on the offensive side, shooting less than 39% from the field and 33% from 3. For the Golden State Warriors, we've got another toss-up. You could go Glenn Robinson, who they acquired from Detroit. Last season, he got 4 points, shooting only 42% from the field and less than 30% from 3. Or you can go with the young player that they ended up getting from Atlanta, in Amari Spellman, who last season got 6 points, shooting 40% from the field. Really don't care who you go here. It's a toss-up for this one. For the Sacramento Kings, it comes down to Harry Giles or Yogi Ferrell. I'm going to go with Ferrell. He's a solid 3-point shooter at 36%, but he's a defensive liability, and I don't know if he's bringing them enough on the offensive side to make up for that. So for right now, I'm going to have to go with him. For the Phoenix Suns, it's between Eli Okobo and Tyler Johnson. I don't really mind who you go here. Tyler Johnson's on a crazy contract, yet only gets 11 points, shooting 37% from the field and 32% from 3. And Eli Okobo in his rookie season this past year got less than 6 points, shooting 39% from the field and 30% from 3. I'm leaning more towards Tyler Johnson just due to Eli Okobo's potential, but really, it's the Phoenix Suns. Who really cares? For the Los Angeles Lakers, this one was pretty tough given our parameters. If we didn't care about role whatsoever, it would have been easy, probably a guy like Demetrius Jackson, but we actually had to have someone in the rotation, so I'm going to go with Jared Dudley. He's a guy that last season got almost 21 minutes a game while getting 5 points, 2.6 rebounds, shooting 42% from the field and 35% from 3. He's always been a solid floor spacer, and I still think he can bring some value to this team, but out of all our options, I had to go with him. For the Dallas Mavericks, I'm going with Dorian Finney-Smith. Now, if we're doing some kind of production to contract ratio, I think this would easily be Tim Hardaway Jr., but given our parameters, I'm going with Finney-Smith, who last season got 7.5 points, shooting 43% from the field and 31% from 3. For the Memphis Grizzlies, we've got 2 defensive-minded wings who struggle with inefficiency, and Josh Jackson, who got 41% from the field and 32% from 3, and Solomon Hill, who shot 38% from the field and less than 32% from 3. I don't really mind who you go here. An easy one would be Solomon Hill, though, because Josh Jackson obviously has more potential and shot with slightly better efficiency this past season. For the San Antonio Spurs, we're going with Trey Lyles. 2 years ago, he actually looked very solid, getting 10 points, 5 rebounds, shooting 49% from the field and 38% from 3. But this past season, he took a massive dip, going to 8.5 points, only shooting 42% from the field and less than 26% from 3. So on a team that actually has a fair amount of depth, I'm going with Lyles. For the last one of the video, we've got the Philadelphia 76ers, where we have Raul Neto, who last season only got 5 points, shooting 46% from the field and 33% from 3. He didn't have much competition. You could argue a guy like Jonah Bolden, but I decided to go with Raul Neto. That's the end for you guys. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, make sure you like and subscribe, and the shoutouts are gonna be Thomas Roberts, Roster King, Jennifer McCrae, Supreme, and Justin Bird. If you guys want to shout out in the next video, all you gotta do is like the video and comment like, and I'll shout 5 you guys out. With all that being said, hope you guys have a great day, and peace.